Hello and welcome to the Crab Jail. I'm Thea, and today I'll be continuing my deep dive of the last Dregs, the questline for the Omicron tribal quest from Endwalker. Today, we're going to take a look at the next faction you encounter. But before I start, I need to make a correction. So it turns out I don't know how to read, and it's Carelians, not Carnelians. So we're just gonna pretend that's what I've been saying the whole time. Okay? Cool. For your first rank up quest, you're greeted by two members of my recent obsession, the Grebuloffs. Like, I am obsessed with them. They are so cute. I've taken so many screenshots with them because they're adorable. I love them. But anyway, two of them are sitting at a table, looking sadly at their salad, and then one of them pretty much goes, "All of our friends are dead," and then they both run off, and you have to go find them. That's not exactly what happens, but I'm using humor because it's very sad what happens to them. The Star of the Grebuloffs is the first one Median shows us in the level 90 dungeon, the Dead Ends. Upon our arrival, we see how their world ended. An illness had overtaken the population. This illness morphed their bodies into grotesque monsters and caused them immense pain. The most horrifying part is that the infected are still sentient and capable of speech. As you fight these creatures, they mention the pain as well as beg for death. Because of the absolutely horrific nature of the disease, the Grebuloffs turn their hatred and woe towards each other, blaming one another for bringing the illness to them. But how did this happen? The answer lies in the long-forgotten seashells, the items you can interact with to learn more of the story. The first seashell reads, "Why do you ask such a question? Do you not see the plague and pestilence that consumes us? Ours is a world of rancid blood and rotting flesh, where death is the only remedy to suffering. There is no meaning to be found in such misery. But it was not always thus. Beneath the waves, we knew only peace and plenty. We wanted for naught, and yet craved more, that our progeny might someday flourish as we never could. Eventually, we ventured to the lands above, bearing flame and iron, toppling any who dared oppose our might. The world was ours for the taking." From the context of the seashell, we can see that these are the people who are directly answering Median when she came across the star and asked her questions. And of course, they answer how horrible it is with this disease, and really the only way they're able to escape it is to die. And it's absolutely horrible. Like, there's no way around it. We learn that the planet wasn't always like this. It used to be incredibly beautiful, and when they were underneath the sea, the Grebuloffs prospered. And then they started taking to the land, and they took a metalsmithing that they used to forge weapons, and they conquered the world. Okay, real talk, it's hard for me to imagine that anything that cute could conquer an entire world, but I digress. The second seashell reads, "This world is not the boundless paradise we were promised. Our population quickly outstripped the habitable land, while seas we thought would shine forever blue ran dry, spoiled and forging the tools of conquest. Cramped homes turned to squalor, and then came the sickness. Our undoing, and the final blessing the star has to offer. We are no longer the fools we once were. Wheresoever life goes, death will follow. Indeed, existence is but the most painful path unto nothingness. And the wise embrace their obliteration wholeheartedly." The second seashell tells a story of how the plague came to be. Eventually, their conquest caused their population to grow so big the star could no longer sustain them. There was no longer any suitable place for their people to live, so they began to live in squalor. And the forging of weapons polluted the seas and contaminated their food sources. So when the first person became sick, the poor living conditions and overpopulation caused the illness to spread like wildfire. And for the second part of this, they claimed that the illness was the final blessing of the star, for it taught them that they were foolish to seek life, because it always ends in death no matter the circumstances. And they believe it is wisdom to accept that fate instead of fighting against it. Yeah, like I said, extremely sad and horrifying. The two Grebuloffs the Sigma 4 created were essentially made with the memories of the moments before they perished, which is watching their friends and family dying and becoming horrible monsters. So their reaction to, everything is fair. After they run off, you chase after them to find that they are trying to swim in the wellspring of regret because they are longing to swim in the sea again. But given there's no salt water anywhere within Ultima Thule, they're pretty bummed out. So you help Jammingway procure ingredients to make them a special dish, a soup with the essence of the sea. This soup helps them relive fond memories of their world before pestilence. This causes a reaction in the Dynamis and creates seas on Elysian, as well as more Grebuloffs. But on a side note, look at this fucking baby. He is ready for soup, and I love that for him. That is it for this segment of the deep dive into the last Dregs. However, this isn't the end. We still have a lot more to cover. So next time, we will go over the Nibiruns. Nibiruns? I don't know how it's pronounced, but I'm going with Nibirun because it sounds cool. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Crab Jail.